Across centuries, exile and memory weave a
Repent,
story of awakening.
for the
In Florence,
fires
the
of
past is
judgment
never
are
lost, it waits to be found. The awakening will come when the past finds the present.
Stop, thief!
I won't lose this letter.
Guards!
No.
The awakening will come when the past finds the...
I never thought I'd find this feeling again.
Florence.
In 1979, Gabriella and Gino began renovating a Florentine house called Casa Nova, finding that a structurally suspicious wall was hiding a deliberate secret. Inside the recess sat a packet of papers featuring ancient Hebrew script and illustrations detailing a 15th-century theological dispute. Within days of the discovery, the physical work at the house stopped, replaced by the arrival of official letters from cultural committees requesting responsible access to the site. This marked the beginning of a professionalized process designed to ensure that while the papers were physically kept, their original meaning remained in a state of permanent suspension. This administrative pressure has a clear ancestor. In the 1490s, Florence was ruled by the religious fervor of the friar Girolamo Savonarola, and the city desperately sought scriptural proof that it was the chosen New Jerusalem. A scholar named Tommaso Benevieni and a Jewish exile watched as the city began to systematically misread and appropriate sacred texts to justify its political power. These two eras share a common strategy for dealing with a difficult inheritance. To neutralize the past, Florence relies on a specific set of procedures to file the evidence away under a different name. The first stage of this playbook involves controlling the narrative through academic gatekeepers. In 1979, Lorenzo Mancini used terms like provisional separation to move the Casa Nova find into restricted storage. Mancini's role mirrors the lesser custodians of the 1490s, the minor clerics and notaries called into private homes to manage controversial papers before they could reach a public archive. As this diagram shows, the gatekeeper's job is to act as a filter. They divide the discovery, allowing the safe elements to move into public view, while the controversial context is routed into restricted review. Modern administrative review functions as the bloodless descendant of 15th-century religious suppression. The second stage is reclassification. Gabriella discovered that in the municipal records, the Casa Nova papers were quietly moved from Notes of Controversy to a new, harmless heading, Devotional Miscellany. Institutional reorganization following the 1966 floods provided the administrative cover needed to bury the true origin of the papers. This mimics a 1490s technique witnessed by an apprentice named Matteo. Clerics would use a knife to physically scrape titles off parchment and rewrite them to sound more edifying. Changing the category of the evidence removes its relational power, sanitizing the past through the simple act of renaming. The final stage is partition. In 1490, Benevieni was forced to break up his collection and hide the fragments in separate locations to help them survive the city's scrutiny. In 1979, Mancini's committees attempted to achieve the same result by treating the physical architecture of Casa Nova as a matter entirely separate from the historical meaning of the papers. This partitioning turns a cohesive threat into a series of disconnected, harmless objects. Realizing that the city had already fractured the original truth, Gabriella and Gino stopped looking for a single document that would explain everything. Instead, they began tracking the bureaucracy itself, compiling scraped titles, delayed permits, and euphemisms in Mancini's letters. When viewed together, these administrative acts reveal a consistent pattern. The systemic delays and reclassifications become evidence of the institution's ongoing effort to manage the discovery. By documenting this pattern, they forced the city to acknowledge that the narrative of the house was a site of active contest. This mirrors Benivieni's choice in the 1490s. Distributing his texts in fragments ensured the city could not easily finalize its misreading of history. Those 15th century fragments became the seeds that Gabriella and Gino uncovered 500 years later. Modern civic procedure achieves through paperwork what was once achieved through more overt censorship. While institutions work to make the past less whole, the truth often survives in the margins, waiting for someone to recognize the pattern.